everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Kayla Rundle, if you don't know me, and we are back with my favorite vehicle, my Ruby Star 2017 Honda Civic hatchback. Today she is getting brand new suspension. I chose to go with ST suspension because hopefully, as you guys know, I do run KW suspension on my track streetcar Camaro. Those are really aggressive coilovers, and I'm also getting KWs for my track E30. For the Civic, this is more of a daily driver that I drive every single day on the road, but my suspension's getting old, and I want something that's slightly more aggressive so I could still have fun with it on the street. So this ST suspension actually has KW damper technology. So of course, I only want to run anything related to KW suspension. ST is the perfect option for a daily driver Civic, while saving a little bit of cost in comparison to the KWs if it's not like a track-only performance-oriented vehicle. But of course, I went with the top-of-the-line coilovers from ST for my Civic. So as you can see on the box here, it has 4 different kinds. And so out of all 4 of these, I actually went with the top-of-the-line, the XTAs, which comes with an ST uniball top mount. I prefer getting top mounts because you can't really ever see your coilovers once the car is back down on the ground. So these top mounts you can see from the engine bay, so that's a big flex. And so everyone that looks in my engine bay at car shows will be able to see that these are STs. All right, I'm gonna unbox these. I already kind of peeked at these, but I got these coilovers customized, and what's really cool about the ST suspension is that you can actually customize the spring color, and you can customize an individual marking on the spring, so you can make it say anything you want. Of course, I kept it appropriate with my name, and I put Kayla Rundle, so if this car ever gets out of my hands, the springs will forever say my first and last name, which is a really cool touch. I chose the color water blue. They have so many different options. You guys will be able to check that out on their website. I chose water blue because it does match all my other vehicles because of the teal on my Camaro and the Miami blue on my E30. So I thought it would be a nice touch to bring all the vehicles together and put water blue on my Civic. Now, while I'm working on this, I will be spraying my brake calipers. I'm thinking yellow because then that'll tie in all of the vehicles. So these are absolutely beautiful. With these coilovers, these actually come with an optional camber and caster adjustment. This is because of the top ball joint up here with the little top mounts. In a sense, they kind of work as a camber plate. So I have so many different options of what I can do with this Civic and running into fitment issues down the road because I am going with aftermarket wheels. So this gives me a ton of adjustability, so I will never run into problems like you do with other coilovers for the Civic. ST does provide you with this little guy. You can't really see it. It's a little rebound adjuster, so you can just pin that on the top and you'll be able, I believe there's 18 clicks that you can run through to adjust the dampening. It has twin tube dampers, and you guys can check out all the really specific details if you're into all the science and engineering behind these. But these have maximum longevity because of the coatings and the way they are all pressurized. I'm not an engineer per se, but you guys can check out all those details on the ST website. They go into depth about it. I guess it's time to get these guys installed on the Civic, and hopefully all goes well. So easy with these tools. All right, I wanted to quickly show you guys what I undid so far. I've been following several videos to make sure I'm doing this right, because sometimes you have to get a spring compressor, and I don't believe we need that. The only reason you don't need that is as long as you don't undo the bolts in the engine bay first. You have to undo those bolts at the very, very end, because that's what's holding the spring up in the car. If I undid those first, it ruins everything. I undid this end link. Everything came off easy, surprisingly, so far. Undid the top part of the end link. I'm leaving the bottom side in. I took off my brake line just in case that there's gonna be tension on it. Undid this sensor, which is literally popped off, and with a little plier, I just pushed it through. So everything's loose. So this coilover is pretty much free. I've never done a car like this, but this strut feeds into this hub of the car, which is interesting. Usually it's connected by bolts on all my other cars. So the goal is to lower the hub, and then this hopefully pops out of it going upwards. I sprayed some PB Blaster in there like 20 minutes ago when I got started, just to make my life a lot easier. So now all I gotta do is undo these 3 bolts on the bottom of the hub, which is connected to this lower control arm, and that should release the entire hub, so then I'll be able to pull the coilover out from the top. And these are 17 millimeters. I might have to get a pry bar to pop this one off, so it's gonna have lots of tension on it. And then we'll see if the coilover comes out. Okay, I sprayed PB Blaster on it before starting. So then the PB Blaster's been sitting there for 30 minutes, so it just slid down the strut super easy. And I got everything loose, and it's coming undone. Very simple for me, luckily. So I'm just gonna undo these nuts up top that I already loosened up. And then hopefully the whole strut will come out of the car. I'm gonna try to not make this fall off completely. And I always go around and loosen every single nut. Don't loosen one at a time, because it'll make every nut after that way, way harder. Now we're gonna see how easy this comes off.
So what's it gonna do?
So this is completely off.
Yeah.
I can't lift this by myself. So this, as I tilt it, you'll be able to like completely just lift this out of this. It's all the way at the very edge.
Oh, okay.
So
do you want this lower, or is this good here?
No, it's good there. It's not on anything. Oh, you push it down further. Yeah, pull it up.
There it is.
She's out. Thank you.
Nice.
Holy moly. Time to clean on the inside. All right, so regarding the fronts, once I undid the bolts, everything came out relatively easy. Connecting these 3 bolts on the bottom were the most difficult, so I had help, and I had to turn the wheel to get those bolts aligned. I stripped a bolt, which is usually what happens to me if it's my first time working on a car or section that I haven't done before. There is an indent on the strut, which also on the stock strut. There's this bolt that goes through the hub that like clamps the hub to the strut tube. If it's not perfectly aligned where there's an indentation on the strut, then this guy will strip itself all the way through like the tube of the strut, and you'll be out of a bolt, and it's hard to find. So I had to drive over an hour to go get a brand new bolt from Honda. This is the part number if you guys are curious. I had to go get that. So now I'm finally putting it on, and then the fronts will be finally finished. I might have to get this end link out of the way. It's falling down on me. finished. All right, now for the back. I'm keeping the car on the ground because it's nice to cuddle up on the ground. But there's this inner like carpet fender liner. And for this, there's these little tabs, which I'll have to pop these out and try not to get them in your eye because mine are dry rotted since I'm in Arizona. This stuff just falls apart for me. It's so bad. I'm gonna have to replace it with some new clips. Ah, broken. All these rocks. Oof. I think I've broken every single clip so far. There we go. All right, I think that's all we have to get. And then you just have to pull this liner back. Don't get dust in your face. Don't know if there's something living up there. Oof. All right, but there's 2 bolts on the top of the strut way up there, which is nice because I don't think I have to go inside of my trunk to do this. So we'll have to undo those 2 bolts, undo the bottom bolt to the strut, along with the very bottom of the lower control arm so this whole thing can drop, so that way the spring will come out. These should all be about the same size probably. Yeah, I think it's all like a 17 or something. I got a long extension so I don't have to reach my arm all the way up there. Hopefully this thing will like me. Oh God, it's so dirty. Got it. Got the first bolt. This is what it looks like. That's the length. Felt like I was cranking on it forever. But she's out without snapping it. Woo! Got the second one out. Okay, that whole thing's out. Now I gotta undo this back bolt. Transition to the smaller one. The Civic has treated me so nicely. I got this bolt out of the bottom of the strut. This is a 17 millimeter, and now the strut is free. Dirty. The heck? Look at the top of this thing. It looks like a stove. I should be able to undo this bolt, and this whole lower control arm should pop out. So I still have the rear sway bar connected, so this whole thing won't like fall really quickly. And the spring doesn't have a lot of tension. Hopefully it should just drop a couple inches. And then I have this jack underneath my whole hub assembly because I don't really know how much load it has or if it's gonna shoot down. So I'm putting that jack underneath there just to be safe. Just got the bottom lower control arm bolt out. And it's all the same 17 millimeter size. So now I'm gonna lower this jack and hopefully the spring comes out. Ooh. Ew. All right, it is springtime. Look how beautiful this teal spring is with my name. I guess I should put my name upright and not upside down. Fixing that real quick. All right, this is the order that was in the instructions. The little helper spring, the black one, is on the bottom, this little plastic piece, and then the adjuster is at the top, and then my name is upright, if you can see it. This goes in place of the stock spring, so I'm just gonna literally set it up in there and then reattach the end link and the lower control arm bolt and then put the strut in, which I just rebuilt from my stock top hat type thing. Honestly, very, very simple. Much easier than the Camaro or anything else I've done. Easy peasy. Literally just set it in. Now I have to feed my end link bolt back in somehow. End link is back in. Now I should be able to crank this up to the hub. And that completes the installation process for my ST XTA coilovers. The rears were very simple. It was only 2 bolts on the very, very top. It all came out very easy, along with the bolt that holds it to the hub at the bottom. And there was no issues in the whole install. I didn't need a spring compressor since I optioned with the new top hats. So that will save you a ton of time. I didn't have to run to the auto store and get a spring compressor and deal with that sketchy process at all. And it looks amazing from the engine bay. I did end up installing SPC rear camber arms. These are not required with the coilover kit at all, but I chose to go with this so then I have several different options in the future for camber adjustment and how low I want to go with the car with my new wheels that are coming in a couple months. And I also went with front Eibach end links just in the front because when I was removing my stock end links, I noticed those were blown, and I don't let anything slide and go blown and just push it off on my vehicles. I replace them as soon as I see that they're blown out. Also, make sure to get an alignment on your vehicle. I highly recommend ST suspension if you guys have a daily driver and you want some of the best coilovers on the market at a very affordable price. There are a lot more inexpensive options, but trust me, it is so well worth it to go the ST direction. I wish I could take you guys all for a ride in this car and I would show you guys a world that you probably have never experienced is really, really good coilovers. The Civic rides like a champ. She's definitely stiffer, but I might be adjusting the dampening a little bit more. I loosened it to, I set all my suspension to be like midway in the click range. That kind of gives me an idea of if I want it tightened or loosened up a bit. So I actually ended up loosening up this car because I'm not taking corners very hard in this car. So I loosened her up and she is perfect. Go check out ST Suspension on their website, punch in your car and see what options they have. They also make a lot of different suspension components other than coilovers as well. If you guys are interested, go check them out. Feel free to leave any questions down below in the comments and I will be sure to respond to as many as I can once they pop up. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, whatever time it is, and I'll see you guys in the next one.